the gospel that Yeshua preached and his offering of redemption for us may not be exactly as it has been proclaimed commonly from the pulpits. This bears folks are timid toward day 3 of Behar Bakukatai on the mountain in my laws. Let's continue in Leviticus or Vayikra chapter 25, today beginning with verse 13. And it says, in the year of this Yovel, let each one of you return to his possession. And when you sell whatever to your neighbor or buy from the hand of your neighbor, do not exploit one another. According to the number of years after the Yovel, you buy from your neighbor, and according to the number of years of crops he sells to you. In verse 23, it says, and the land is not to be sold beyond reclaim, for the land is mine, for you are sojourners and settlers with me. And provide for a redemption for the land and all the land of your possession. When your brother becomes poor and has sold some of his possession, and his redeemer, a close relative, comes to redeem it, then he shall redeem what his brother has sold. In this era of time in particular, and obviously continuing, land and agriculture is the chief commodity. We're reading about a time period where if a man did not personally sow seed into the ground, it's a good chance he was going to starve to death. Matter of fact, it was in the ancient cultures, ingrained in their various myths about their gods and the response of the gods to their offerings. The attempt of the pagans was to appease their mighty one, whatever they believed that to be, so that favor would be given to their crops, and then that the crops would yield bountifully enough for them to eat for the remainder of the year. And again, if you didn't sow, good chance you didn't eat. And if you don't eat, well, you don't live. So everything really depended upon the fruit bearing and the strength of the land. Yah promises Israel, when you go in and you take possession of your inheritance, this is the best land. It flows with milk and honey, and when you work it, this land will yield to you bountifully. And we just discussed how that there would be a supernatural increase in the year prior to the Shemitah, and that there would be an abundance of food for all of the need of the people. Now it says that when you have a desire to sell off a portion of your land, or maybe the entirety of your land, you can only do so for whatever number of years remain until the Yovel, because in that 50th year, all land goes back to its original owner. So if I'm in year 40, there are 10 years to year 50, but there's Shemitah years in there, and I have to calculate how many years of actual sowing and reaping are available to the buyer. And he pays me a sum of money that he believes is reasonable enough to lease the land from me and still make a profit off of his crops. I get money, he gets land to use, everybody's happy. In the 50th year, the land comes back to me, and we start all over again. So it is encouraged here that you do not defraud one another, that you do not charge an exorbitant price, or you don't gouge the one who is selling and trying to get it really, really on the cheap here. But you act with equity and fairness. So Yah says, be aware, this land is mine, and I'm watching your transactions. Then we look over where it says that the land is not sold beyond redemption. And this is important for us. Whether we have a Hebrew DNA that testifies of actual tribal lineage from the ancient Hebrews, or whether we're adopted into the Hebrew family of Israel through Messiah Yeshua, there is a claim for us of kingdom land. I want to be very careful here and very clear. I'm not talking about anyone going into the current estate of Israel and dispossessing anyone who is Jewish or living in the land and taking over their land as if that is a right of us given to us by Messiah. That's just not simply so. Let's also understand that in the kingdom, when Yeshua returns, that the borders of the land of Israel will be far wider, longer, greatly increased. The landmass of Israel will be magnified, multiplied. It will be extensive, and there will be land for everyone. And Yeshua will distribute the land according to what he sees is righteous and just. Now, that being understood, we should also understand that, in effect, we are exiles. We have, as the house of Israel, been exiled among the nations, and we are currently without any claim legally as such. Only in Messiah Yeshua is there any hope of possessing a portion of kingdom land. And therein is where our Redeemer, our kinsman Redeemer, our Goel, Yeshua, our Messiah, he will, in fact, redeem the land because it is beyond, it's not so beyond reclaim. There's always the opportunity to reclaim. Therefore, we should also understand that when Yeshua returns, the timing is of such that he comes during the year of the Yovel. Now, exactly when the next Yovel is going to take place, there are more theories and calculations and calendar dates than you could possibly count. But let's just say that it's far closer than what many of us, I think, would be comfortable with, in that world events leading up to this climactic moment. It's not cataclysmic, it's climactic. With the appearance again of Yeshua, it's going to be powerful, and it's going to be soon. Let me just put it that way. So we, by our sinful estate, by our violation of Torah, were pushed out of the land, and reasonably and righteously so. Now Yeshua is returning to reclaim that land, and it is in effect then the end of our exile, wherein in times past we have sold ourselves to sin. Yeshua has come to redeem us from the claim of sin and restore us to righteousness. Thank you for what you have done, Yeshua. When Yeshua read in the book of Luke, chapter number 4, he says he went to this local synagogue, and he opened up the scroll of Isaiah, and he read, "The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he's anointed me to bring the good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, proclaim the release to the captives, and recovery of sight to the blind, to send away crushed ones with a release, and proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh." He is saying that Yah sent him to bring into effect the great Yovel, the great Jubilee, the great year of release. What he didn't read is a continuation of that section of Isaiah about the year of the vengeance of our Elohim. That is the part that we don't commonly hear. Yeshua did not come preaching his death, burial, and resurrection. That's commonly preached from pulpits as the gospel. The gospel is what Yeshua preached. Repent, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Yeshua came proclaiming the kingdom. The parables are about the kingdom is like. He declared to us what the kingdom is to prepare us for the kingdom. And then he also brought to us a message of redemption, of restoration, of reclaim. And when he comes, he will wreak vengeance upon those who refuse to release the exiles. He will destroy them and bring out the exiles from their bondage. And may he do so in our day, releasing the hostages that are held in Israel, in the land of Gaza, that Israel would be restored and reclaim those that have been lost to them. Pray for that, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.